Or what I like to call natural causes.
But they could also indicate the toxic effect of ethylene glycol poisoning.
Which would mean he was murdered.
So I'll have Tox analyze the crystals to confirm what we're looking at.
Adam,
Hey, Stella.
have you started processing the evidence from Tutto di Amici yet?
I was just getting to it now. Check the monitors for anything you need to know.
Thanks, Adam.
I know you might have wanted to do this by yourself, but I thought I'd save you some time. I was checking Mr. Amici's wants and warrants, and guess what I found?
What?
Well, Mr. Amici was in a pretty big hurry last night. He ran a red light 2 blocks from his restaurant on Mulberry. Got a ticket for his trouble.
Really? So Mr. Amici wasn't entirely truthful about his whereabouts during the time of the murder.
Over here, I have our victim's kidney stone set up for further chemical analysis. Let's see what they're made of, shall we? Weird. We're definitely looking at calcium oxalate crystals.
And how exactly did they get into our victim's kidney?
Well, that's the question. Sid reviewed the medical records, and Andrew Lords had no pre-existing conditions that would account for the development of calcium oxalate.
So can you tell me what would account for the development of calcium oxalate?
Not yet. But we are definitely looking at poisoning. Let's take a look at the prints you lifted from the freezer door handle. Well, here's what we know. We know Olivia found the victim's body that morning, and Detective Flack has several eyewitnesses who confirm Olivia was at the Sandstone Cinema around the time of the murder. And you know the prints you recovered from Tutu de Amici's don't mean much because Olivia's the GM. And well, Mr. Amici owns the place, but I gotta say, I'm not sure his alibi's gonna hold up. I lifted a really good print for comparison here. Okay, this essentially proves that our victim was the one eating at the table, apparently by himself.
Looks like it's time to talk to Andrew Lloyd's wife, see what she can tell us.
Hey, Stella. Hey. Thought you might want some help here. This is Eloise Stanwyck Lords.
I'm sorry for your loss, Mrs. Lords.
Stanwyck Lords. Yes, Andrew's passing is tragic. The detective tells me you'll need to look through some of my husband's affairs. Very well. This is my husband's private study. I just can't believe he died last night. The last time I saw him, it was particularly unfortunate. My husband and I led rather separate lives. We were both interested in food and chefs, but Andrew took great pleasure in demolishing egos, while I prefer to support new trends and see them flourish. I don't really know what Andrew kept in here.
Ms. Stanwyck Lords, can you tell us where you were last night?
Just before the dinner hour, I took Andrew to the Kindling restaurant. It's a brilliant new place with an extraordinarily gifted chef. I was truly hoping to broaden my husband's views. After that, we went our separate ways, and I returned home.
What happened?
Ah, yes. Well, I've been trying to promote Sebastian Oswald, a superior new chef. I took Andrew to Sebastian's restaurant, the Kindling, yesterday afternoon. I was hoping to persuade Andrew to appreciate a truly innovative new style of cuisine.
And did you persuade him?
No, Andrew was in one of his moods. He and Sebastian got into a fight. Andrew stomped out like a spoiled little child.
And what did Mr. Oswald do after Andrew left?
Well, Sebastian can hardly be bothered. He was far too busy. But he returned to his kitchen, and I took a cab home. Yes, it might surprise you to know that I knew Andrew had a woman on the side. Honestly, I didn't have the heart to interfere with one of the few pleasant interactions he had with human beings. I'd assumed Andrew was with her last night. I believe her name is Olivia Moretti? If that's important. Anyway, I didn't worry he hadn't come home. I simply assumed Andrew was with her.
Do you mind if we take a look around?
No, not particularly. If I can think of anything else, I'll let you know.
Yes, please do.
Stella, I've seen this before. This is Andrew Lord's esteemed Gold Fork. It's the highest rating a restaurant can receive.
Second only to the silver spoon, right?
Hey, check this out. These are financial records for the construction of Tutto di Amici.
So, why would Andrew Lords have records from Marcel Amici's restaurant?
Well, they could have been in business together.
A chef and a food critic.
A match made in heaven.
Or Hell's Kitchen.
Andrew had that safe put in last year. He told me he was going to keep all of his precious reviews in there. Come to think of it, he never did tell me what he set the combination to.
So you ever do time for safe cracking, Stella?
Not as far as you know. These records confirm a business relationship between Andrew Lords and Marcel Amici.
Are we finished here, detectives? I have the details of my husband's funeral to attend to. I'm sure our building's security cameras can provide my whereabouts. It's just so sad that he's gone, especially considering how we left things. Yes, here, in my late husband's office. We may have lived separate lives, but that doesn't mean I feel comfortable leaving you here alone with his belongings.
I noticed you have a monitor. We'd like the tape.
Actually, our whole building is wired with a remote camera system. Our account only lets us see the front door and our apartment door. But that should be sufficient to prove I was at home at the time of Andrew's passing.
Mind if we look at it back at the lab?
I suppose not. Here's my login and password.
Thank you, Mrs. Lords. I mean, Mrs. Stanwyck Lords. Did the two of you have a fight?
Any woman would be upset that her last words to her husband were in anger. Not that he didn't deserve it, but still.
Deserve to die?
Sorry, I meant the fight at the restaurant. He was being so stubborn.
I see.
Andrew's financial affairs were about as well thought out as his extramarital affairs, and I had nothing to do or say about either of them. Marcel has been in the restaurant business for many, many years, and he certainly appreciated the value of a good review. It's quite possible Marcel believed Andrew could be persuaded with money. Perhaps he was right.
All right, so I'll take what we have back to the lab.
Great, but tell Adam to wait for me before he starts processing. I want to follow up with this so-called unfortunate encounter between Mr. Lords and Sebastian Oswald. Maybe I can put this back together.
Nice work, Stella. Looks like the reservation list from last night. I'll make a couple calls. Maybe we can learn more about what happened from one of the customers.
Hey, Danny. What you got there? A broken dish?
Don mentioned these guys had a fight last night. I'm thinking this might be some collateral damage.
Hello? Can I help you?
Danny Messer, and this is Stella Bonacera. We're from the crime lab.
Let me guess. You're here about Andrew, aren't you?
That's right.
I heard about it on the radio this morning. Terrible tragedy. I feel so sorry for Marcel. I heard Tudo Diamici was going to be the jewel of Little Italy.
We were told you saw the victim yesterday, is that right?
Yes, that's right. Andrew was in here with his wife yesterday afternoon. I served them a late lunch. We chatted about some interesting new trends in cuisine. Andrew was a touch on the old-fashioned side for my taste. Still, I can't say I'm too surprised about where he was found dead.